Hello, everybody. You know, the power's out, and right now I'd be normally watching YouTube, so the only thing that I can do is record a YouTube video. So this is unedited, and it's gonna go up when I get internet again. So yeah, there's really high storms, lost power. Sorry, because of the wind. And I lost my job, so I have absolutely nothing to do. The only reason there's light right now, I'm using My Light, an app on my iPad, and that's why you can see me right now. Let me just turn it off so you know. Yeah, this is what we're rocking with that iPad. That's with the iPad, so you know what's going on. So I lost my job because of Trump firing a bunch of federal workers, so clap it up. Yep. Yeah. So I have nothing to do but rant about romantasy. That was the biggest disappointment of last year, the romantasy. I was really disappointed in Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden, Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling, even though that's her first book, so I have to give her some slack on that one. Heavenly Bodies by Imani, I forgot her last name. So I was super disappointed with romantasy. So something about me, my favorite book series of all time is fantasy that has a romance in it. So I would think like, oh, you know, this romantasy trend is great. Like, it's everything I love, but it's not. And what it boils down to is overusing of cookie cutter tropes and archetypes of characters again and again and again. That's like a huge part of it, but there's also a bunch of other main issues that I will get into. So the first thing is insta-lust. Now, I love romance, I love spice, and all that. I honestly don't mind insta-lust in romance, but it just does not work in romantasy. Like, people say that romantasy does romance and fantasy badly, and I unfortunately have to agree with that. But it's like, I love spice, but it's ruining so many of these romantasies. And so many of them claim to be enemies to lovers. And I was so frustrated with Fourth Wing because tell me why they're enemies. Xaden and Violet. And then Xaden's like, I could kill her, and takes no real attempt to try to kill her, and then kind of just gives up. And then they're in love in the first book. Like, how do they go from enemies to lovers to in love in the first book out of 5-book series? Like, they're enemies for 2 seconds, and they're in love in the first book. So there's nothing more for me to read. I read Fourth Wing, and there's nothing more for me to read. They're already in love, so what's there to read? The only book that does enemies to lovers right is Cruel Prince. That's how it should be done. They're actually, they take actions against each other. They're actually enemies. They actually don't like each other. So yeah, and then Fear the Flames made no sense because the main, what was her name? Elowen? I don't know. The main girl, she works with the male lead, but she thinks that she treats him like she's her enemy. I'm like, you guys are on the same team. Like, you're not even enemies. And then Heavenly Bodies was really, I DNF'd that because the main character, gets kidnapped and taken to another kingdom's court. And she's like, and the king's like, you will train with my son, the prince. And she's like, No. And then the next chapter, they're training together. And, like, he's like, I don't want to train her. But the next chapter, they're training together. Like, there's no enemies. Like, they were mad at each other for, like, 2 seconds. So, anyway, could not stand that. The next is when the romance takes over. Fantasy needs a strong plot. And Fear the Flames, I hate to rag on this book because it's the author's first book. Oh, I'm an author. Well, I'm writing a book. So I feel like I can criticize books because I'm planning to publish one. So I like to think I know what it takes, even though I haven't published yet. But anyway. But yeah, I want to give grace to new authors. But the romance takes over. Like, they're supposed to be on a mission, on a heist in Fear the Flames. And all they care about is just getting it on. And it's like, you're not even paying attention, like, to the crisis at hand. And they're just so distracted on the mission. It's like, please, just focus on the mission. And I love spice, but that author, like, wrote the plot in a way to shoehorn as much spice scenes as she possibly could. And I'm like, this is the first book in a series. Why is there so much spice? And I literally love spice, so this is a lot coming from me. So the next thing is unoriginal plots. So Powerless by Lauren Roberts is huge. A lot of people think it's plagiarism. Obviously, I'm not going to read that because I want to read original work. And a lot of books. I mean, there could be another famous book about a fantasy court other than A Court of Thorns and Roses that was, like, more popular before that book, but not that I know of. And I just will not read any book about a fake court anymore. Heavenly Bodies kind of has the same trope where the main character is taken against her will to a court. So that's very similar to Court of Thorns and Roses. Like, the setup. The books are not similar, but the setup. But I'm just not interested in reading that sort of setup. So, and unoriginal characters is another huge thing. A lot of characters look like Rhysand from A Court of Thorns and Roses. And yeah, authors are just copying other authors' characters. The characters have no depth. Like, in Fear the Flames, all we knew about the main guy is that he liked her. And we didn't know anything else about him, so they have no depth. So a lot of authors, please stop picking archetypes and then writing those characters. Write your own unique character. And stop picking up trope and then making a plot that goes along with that. Just create your own plot. Don't pick out a trope first and then create a plot that has that trope in it. So yeah, this is just so frustrating. I love fantasy books that have romance in it, but so many of them, this wet wax is worrying me. But anyway, so many of them are overdone. And I'm sick of it. So if you know any unique romantasies, comment them below. But yeah, it's just so sad because I just love to read fantasies that have romance in it, but these new trends, I'm really not liking them. I just want some originality. I want something new. So yeah, I don't have power. I don't have a job, and I don't have any good romantasies to read, so that's that. Alright, see you in the next video. If there is one, because I don't know what's going on. So anyway, go watch my New York vlog if you haven't. Those were better days. Those were better days. All right. See you in the next video. Bye.